Hey, this is Sam and Craig from Twin Atlantic, and you're watching Rock Sound.
Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. We're in London today. Twin Atlantic are back, and Sam and Craig join me now. How are you, gents?
Good.
Very good. Whirlwinded. Is that a word? That should be.
It should be now. Well, you're sort of getting back into it now. This is the sort of the re-emerging back into the wild. How does it feel to be back? I suppose. Let's start there.
It's strange because we've not really stopped working since like the last gig we did for our previous record, GLA. We've just been in the studio every day, so in the bubble that now to be back doing this, and you're saying we're back, we're like, oh yeah, we were away. Like it didn't feel like it to us. We're kind of catching up with the fact that now people are hearing the music and stuff. It's exciting, mate.
Well, speaking of that, let's start with what people have already heard, which is the single, of course, Novocaine, and it's, I think, a really nice choice of entry point for the album because you can hear some kind of new sound, some new instrumentation in there and everything, but it's so distinctively you guys as well. Talk to me about how that track in particular came together.
There's an irony in everything that you just said that I need to point out first because we wrote more than what is on the finished album, like more tracks, and we were going over everything at the last minute and we're like, Novocaine just isn't cutting it, is it? It's just not going to be on the record because we had to take one out and we were doing that whole replacing them in and out for each other, and it was someone else who was like, who said exactly everything you just said. Like, yeah, but it's what everyone knows about your band, and you don't want to like put people off too much with the first thing, because the thing that we wanted to put out would have maybe put everyone off.
What do you want to put out first?
I don't even think it's made it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it has, but it hasn't. Oh, yeah. So, to confuse you.
Nice and cryptic.
Yeah. But sorry, to answer your question, it was we wrote songs really differently this time, because I used to just write on a guitar, kind of on my own. And I'd either do a decent enough job that we all just would write parts on it, or I'd kind of butcher the idea of a song and we'd all kind of craft it together. Whereas this time we sort of put a studio together in Glasgow, turned our old rehearsal room that we've had for about nearly 10 years into more of a kind of writing, recording space to make demos, and that kind of even grew arms and legs because we ended up doing the album in that room. But myself and Ross, our bass player, we just kind of stumbled our way through, how does this work and how do you plug that synth in and what would happen if you press that? Oh, it's making a sound. I don't know. I didn't mean that. But then that kind of ended up birthing all these songs. Yeah. And a song like Novocaine, we remembered the other day, it's 157 BPM. I think that's just because we had the capability of like turning a drum machine. Like, how fast does this thing go?
So that's interesting then, because it does sound, when you hear it in the context of the full record as well, particularly with the use of like drum machines, little synths in there and all that stuff, it's very coherent and kind of sounds like a whole concept put together. But are you saying, was it more experimenty when you were going in? Did you not realize you were going to go down that route at first?
Yeah, not at first. Thank you, baby. That's a big compliment, because
it's a good record, man.
Thanks, mate. Thank you, man. We do feel like it's our most coherent record so far. Rock music has a lot of history. Maybe the most in terms of like still being a popular genre. No offense to all the classical fans out there and stuff, but
shout out classical fans watching Rock Sound
and folk and all those folk people. No, we kind of like, I think because we didn't know what we were doing, we weren't really being as respectful. Because whenever we've been in the studio before, we've been working with these really legendary people that have got stories about Dave Grohl and Bono and like the top dogs in the game, and so we would always be quite careful. We didn't want to like be too experimental or something. Looking back on it, we didn't feel like that at the time. We were just like focused at the time. So because we didn't have that sort of like blanket of protection over the like you need to be careful about what you do in the genre or whatever, we kind of just did whatever we want. And I don't know, it probably just comes across more how we think creatively, a bit more, I don't know, broad in taste.
Yeah, well, there's certainly a confidence there. I mean, I don't want to give too much away for this, but there's little interludes and stuff in there. It really does all flow together. But like, yeah, it sounds like it was a big kind of renewed confidence, which I guess leads you on to the next question, which is the title of the record, which seems very appropriate. Power. How did you choose that one in particular?
It seems so arrogant now that like it's one of the sort of cliched, cheesy answers that I've given so far, but it's just honestly the truth. Like, it kind of named itself in a weird way, because there's so many things going on like internally as a band. Do you know what I mean? We've only ever worked with one record label ever since we were essentially kids. We've made that switch. We've made the studio into an actual studio. I don't know, we just kind of like took control of things a bit more. So there's that part of it. We've also all been working in front of a backdrop of political, I don't even know if unrest is the right word anymore, like chaos.
Yeah, we're beyond unrest now at this point, yeah.
Not just our own like country and everything, but it seems like everywhere's gone a bit kind of haywire, and it's been a constant like thing and pushed into the forefront of everyone's daily life now, where it really is all just kind of like a power struggle. That's where that bit comes from. It's great. See what I'm saying? There's a few cheesy one-liners in here. So we wanted to kind of comment on that, and I guess we just feel like the record does sound quite bold and punchy, and in an era where a lot of kind of rock bands are maybe harking back to blues scales and simplifying it. We've gone the complete opposite way. Yeah.
You alluded to some of the kind of changes that of course happened with the band since the last record, and I guess the initial one I want to talk about a bit of a lineup change, but a kind of not as well, which is really nice to see. I can't think of many occasions where it's someone stepped back from full time but still kicking around for touring, and you're clearly all still getting along and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's quite an interesting transition. Was it difficult to work out how that was going to work, or still in process maybe? I don't know.
To be fair, like Baz is kind of just amazing. It's like he was kind of doing a lot of his own thing. Like he's kind of got into his own production stuff, and it just kind of started to go that way where we were doing this and he was doing that, but he kind of still wanted to be part of it. We wanted him to be part of it, and it's kind of weirdly worked out so well. I know it's been really easy. Whereas we thought, I'm sure like it could have been weird, but it hasn't been. Like he's dead like focused when he comes to do like play, and he's dead focused on his own thing. We're doing this as well, and it seems to work out really well. Yeah,
no, really nice to see kind of that rare situation, but lovely to see when that kind of thing works out. It's all good. And in terms of, other changes and everything, like you say, new label now and everything. And I think you talked a bit about it previously in the mag about how over the end of the last album era, it was maybe a bit more difficult behind the scenes than you perhaps anticipated. What have you learned from that era of the album that's fed into what we're hearing now? Big question.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
What did we learn from that happening? I mean, I guess the product of the actual album and how we made it and the sound of it, it just wouldn't have happened without that experience. It's kind of like the album as a representation of what that does to a band or an artist, any artist. Honestly, it could have. I think it would have finished a lot of other musicians just mentally. Man, it was turmoil, and quite difficult knowing what the future held, I suppose. But we've always been quite determined. People kind of stubborn is another word, I suppose, where we just kind of like channeled that into being creative, and then creativity just exploded because we had been in a bit of a kind of dark hole. Yeah. When it comes to like the whole behind the scenes businessy things, personally we were still just having a great time. Getting to be in a band at all was a total gift in it. So
yeah, absolutely. No, it makes sense. It really does. And I want to comment as well. There's I guess the other track that people have sort of heard at this point while we're talking to you is Volcano, because you played it at Reading Leeds and stuff.
Yeah, true.
Huge. I'm really hoping that's going to be a single, by the way. It's a big song. Talk to me about how that one in particular, because again, I think that's the interesting one. It sounds like, if you stripped away some of the instrumentation, like a classic Twin song, but then there's this new angle on there. Yeah, how did that one come together?
A lot of the songs were just going on instinct. Like it's a lot more bass led, and sort of like groove driven, I suppose. Whereas it used to be like the guitar that would do the job of like initiating a riff or melody. I mean, our previous records there's like 15 different melodies in every song. It's meant, and then I sing really melodically over the top of it. And I think we got that out our system quite big time. Like, so yeah, we kind of started like rooting it more in like a bass riff or like a drum pattern or something. We just can't help ourselves from like getting to the chorus and just making it go widescreen and shouting.
Nothing wrong with a big chorus, man. No one's complaining about a big chorus.
Yeah, we're addicted to it. Yeah, man. It's one of our favourites to play so far live as well. Just something about it feels quite comfortable.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of live, obviously the next kind of big thing once the album drops, you've got the tour next year and all that kind of stuff. I want to finish with this, and it's another big question, I'm afraid, but an important one. What are the kind of aims for you guys over the next year? This feels like you've just come through this transitional period. You're going to hit the ground running with a new record, slightly new sound, big shows, all that kind of stuff. What do you want to be talking about this time next year? Where do we want to be sitting?
In a bigger room than this, a much bigger room.
Bigger rooms. That's right. Okay.
It's funny because we've always had an answer to this in the past, which has sometimes maybe come across as arrogant or something. Because I think in our first ever interview, I was like, "Yeah, we want to play stadiums," because I just don't see why would you want to cap it just in case? I mean, it has to happen to some bands. We slip through the net and you get lucky, or people connect. But I don't even want to put like any limitations on the boundaries of what we could do, because I think we've made a pretty unique record. It feels to us like that doesn't happen very often. So I don't know, man. We'll do it. As a live band, we feel like we could play arenas and stadiums tomorrow if people knew the songs.
Yeah.
So people need to catch up.
Yeah, watch this space. A big year ahead, I'm sure, anyway, because, again, congrats on the record. And, feels like a good time to be in Twin Atlanta. Let's go with that. It definitely feels like you guys are in a positive space, which is awesome to see. Good stuff. Good to chat to you. We'll catch up again soon, I guess, around the tour and all that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
But best of luck with the album and everything. All right.
Thank you.
Craig, everybody.